His wife said, "His presence irritates me. I wish he'd disappear forever." And he disappeared. What he left behind makes her scream. "Honestly, his presence irritates me. I wish he would just disappear forever so I can finally be with you." Those were the words Lauren Miller whispered to her lover on the phone, her laughter sharp enough to cut glass. Unaware that her devoted husband of 5 years was standing in the hallway, hearing her betrayal. She had no idea that the poor construction worker she mocked in secret was about to grant her wish in the most devastating way possible. What happened next will make you question everything you think you know about love, betrayal, and the price of taking someone's devotion for granted. Viewers, what would you do if you overheard the person you sacrificed everything for wishing you out of existence? The sound of Lauren's laughter carried through the thin crack of the front door. Aaron's hand froze on the knob, his chest tightening beneath the weight of something he couldn't yet name. He leaned closer, the grit of the day from the construction site still clinging to his boots, and caught the sharp edge of her voice. "Honestly, his presence irritates me. He doesn't even realize how small he is compared to you. I wish he'd just disappear forever." The words slid into him like a blade. His breath caught, his throat closed. On the other side of the door, Lauren's tone softened into a giggle, light and playful, the kind of sound he hadn't heard directed at him in years. Each laugh peeled away the remaining comfort of their 5-year marriage. Aaron stayed still, rooted in the silence of the porch. She went on, speaking in hushed, breathy fragments. The name slipped once, a man he'd never met, but had heard of through her passing remarks. Wealthy, charming, the kind of man who sent flowers in glass vases and tickets to places Aaron's overtime wages could never buy. He closed his eyes and listened until the final click of the call ended. Only then did he turn the knob. The door creaked open. Lauren sat curled on the couch, legs tucked beneath her, phone face down at her side. She looked up quickly, her expression smooth, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "You're home early," she said. Aaron nodded, steadying his voice. "Job wrapped sooner than expected." He stepped inside, set his lunch pail on the counter, and hung his jacket by the door. His movements were slow, deliberate, practiced, each one a mask to cover the fracture widening inside him. The living room smelled faintly of her perfume, the expensive kind she claimed she bought on discount, but that he'd once seen displayed in glossy magazines. Her wine glass, still half full, sat on the coffee table beside an open magazine. She reached for it casually as though nothing had happened. Aaron lowered himself into his usual chair. His hands rested on his knees, calloused and raw from the day's labor. He looked at her briefly, just long enough to memorize the curve of her jaw, the ease with which she sipped, the absence of guilt in her eyes. The clock on the wall ticked steadily. He listened to it, each second hammering into him like nails driven into wood. He didn't speak of what he'd heard. He didn't ask. He didn't demand. Instead, he sat in silence, letting the bitterness settle deep where she couldn't see. Inside, though, something was shifting. The man she mocked as small was no longer wounded. He was calculating. Her words, meant as an insult, had become an instruction. She wanted him gone. And soon enough, she would learn what it truly meant to live without him. The next 3 days passed beneath a thin film of silence. Aaron moved through the house like a shadow, steady, polite, always where he was expected to be, never betraying the storm simmering behind his eyes. He kissed her cheek when she left for errands, brought in the mail, carried groceries in from the car. Lauren moved as if nothing had cracked the surface of their marriage, as if her words hadn't shattered the foundation he'd built with calloused hands and long hours. On the third night, she set a glass of wine beside her dinner plate and leaned back in her chair. Her tone carried the careful weight of a practiced announcement. "I've been thinking," she said, stirring her pasta with a slow, distracted motion. "I need a break. Time for myself. A solo vacation. Just a few weeks to rediscover myself." Aaron lifted his fork, twirled it, and tasted the food. He chewed slowly, his face unreadable in the amber glow of the dining room light. How long? He asked. 3 weeks, she said quickly, almost eagerly. I found this retreat package. Beautiful beaches, quiet mornings, time to figure out what I want. The fork rested against the rim of his plate. He swallowed, wiped his mouth with a napkin and nodded once. If that's what you want. Her eyes searched his face, waiting for resistance. None came. His